Well, Nigeria's former president, Olusegun Obasanjo, or Olusegun Matthew Okikiola-Remo Obasanjo, has painted what can be described as a bleak picture of Nigeria, describing the country as volatile, and filled with suffering. Now, he lamented the country's deteriorating security situation, economic woes, and the plight of Nigerians struggling to survive. The plight of Nigerians struggling to survive. Now, Obasanjo's comments come as no surprise, given the escalating insecurity, rampant poverty, and political tensions gripping Africa's largest, most populous nation. Now, with the country's leadership facing intense scrutiny, many Nigerians are asking the tough questions about the direction of their country. Is Nigeria truly on the path of progress, as some would have the country's citizens believe, or is the country stuck in a cycle of instability? I want to introduce our guest tonight for this conversation. Shola Omolayo is a public affairs analyst. He joins us virtually right here tonight on Politics Issue. Mr. Omolayo, good evening to you. It's a pleasure having you tonight.
Good evening, and good evening, Nigeria.
All right, good to see you. Good to see you, sir. Olusegun Obasanjo spoke at the Africa Methodist Council Heads of Conference Summit and Women's Movement Leadership Summit, where he was chairman of the public lecture. I'm a Methodist, so I took up a lot of interest in this. But let's start by asking you if you agree with Olusegun Obasanjo's assessment of the state of Nigeria today.
Yeah, I really appreciate this question because it's on the right path when you follow someone who's taken a path before. Obasanjo, no, that's too odd. General, the former head of state of this country in person of former leader, General Olusegun Obasanjo, who ended up becoming a president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria between 1999 to 1993 and getting into office again in 1999, 2003, and 2007. What a great man, who also was an head of state in 1978. 76 to 79. What a great man. What a great man that I've seen it all. When he says a word, I think those sentences should be censored. He has had the experience. If you notice, a statement went forth from a supposed president who ought to be a military head of state, made a statement why he truncated an effort of the citizen of Nigeria. So when Obasanjo speaks, don't you think that it is right for us to listen to him and take some correction from his failure or from his supposed undo that he was unable to execute? Obasanjo advised him, but it's just that Nigerians, will I say it's the spirit of a black man not to learn from the past? We keep moving on in a transit of destruction. That is why we don't look back. And it's so evil that our culture is not being followed. Because what we do in the days of old is to follow our culture and take correction in failures of the past leaders. There's a Latin word that says, it's a Latin word, meaning that whoever falls into a pit ought to give some lessons to those who are behind. But are we taking to that trend? Okay. I don't want to say much.
Mr. Omolayo, you talked about Obasanjo and the fact that he was the former president of Nigeria. He keeps making very controversial statements in the days of Goodluck Jonathan. Remember, he wrote.
Hold on. Do you say controversial statement? That is odd. With due respect to your person, how do you call that a controversial statement? When you find somebody doing a wrong thing and someone who has an experience of such a position correcting you, you call it how bad now? Why?
All right. Well, you can allow me to ask my question, Mr. Molayo. You can replace it with whatever word you want to use, but let me ask my question. He keeps making controversial statements, different administrations. Can I learn, sir, so you can hear where I'm coming from? Like I said, you can replace it with whatever word you want to. Yeah, let me ask my question. You understand me? In the time of Goodluck Jonathan as president, Obasanjo resorted to letter writing. He also wrote a book, that got the nation talking. At different points in time, he made statements that got the nation talking. In the administration of Buhari, he also made several controversial statements. And what is it about Obasanjo and making statements on the state of Nigeria, commentary, that always gets Nigerians talking?
All right. You see, let me bring you back to history. This is a man that came into office in a sudden event that was not an organized or a planned supposed arrangement. When I say planned supposed arrangement, he didn't come into office in the first time by coup. It was a detached, a coup that was not well executed, and the days of the late what's the name of Ramat Mohammed, Murtala Ramat Mohammed, the coup that was executed by Domkat Suka Dinka in 1975-76. That was when Obasanjo came into office. And I know too well Nigeria don't really understand the circle of events that took place in this period. And that is why we pick him up based on what we don't even know. That's what we call the British Petroleum Saga. I won't go into that because of time. This is a man that came into office after the death of Ramat Murtala Mohammed General, who was the head of state at that time, after his 6 months of emerging as the head of state of this country. And he ran the government between 1976 to 1979, and in handover. This is a first experience of an African military leader who chose to leave office based on promise, 1979. And Shagari came in, 1979. A change of government in 1983, December 31st, 1983, where the likes of Muhammadu Buhari came into office. When you check the event of things that took place, this man is in the center of the Nigerian show. So he has the understanding of speaking. And this is a man with letter. He writes a lot. So when he talks, I believe we should listen. Yes, he might have his wrong. Human beings are full of errors. He's not a God. But come on.
All right. Okay. Mr. Molaya, interesting. Walk down memory lane. What are the root causes of volatility? As Obasanjo put it, he says that Nigeria is volatile and filled with suffering. What are the root causes of this volatility and suffering in the country?
What a funny question with a short timing. I want to ask you a question that can be very elementary but sensitive. A 4-bedroom flat, sir, how many months will it take you to build it? I'm not talking of the time of purchasing the land. I don't want to take you that far. Bringing in the architectural work that involves the engineering machination. But constructing the work, assuming you're starting the work right here today, which is the 4th of, if I'm not wrong, the 4th of, is that the 3rd? The 3rd of June. How many months do you think it's going to take you to construct a 4-bedroom flat? No matter how fast I think you are, it will take you another 3 months. So if it's taking you 3 months to construct a 4-bedroom flat or 4 flats, how many minutes does it take you to destroy it? It won't take you more than 1 hour to 45 minutes, maybe under instruction, 1 hour or 2 hours to destroy such a structure. Let me ask you this question again. If you are to rebuild such a structure that has been destroyed by a caterpillar, it will take you again another 7, if not 1 year, to reconstruct, because you need to pack the rubbles. So, for the likes of Obasanjo to have entered an office and experience what was demolished in 1999. Nigerians forget history so fast, my brother. 1999, between 1993 to 1998, 1999, within the region of Abacha and Abdul Salam, Nigeria was on a time bomb. I can't understand why we're like this. Nigeria was on a time bomb that, you know, some region left Lagos thinking that Nigeria is going to go into war. That was when you brought in another leader in the name of President Okiki Ola, or whatever they call him, Obasanjo, as the president of Nigeria to govern this nation. And what he was invited to do by the core of powers, those who knows how to manage power. Obasanjo was called to come and maintain peace. He was not invited to come and construct road or give you light. That's another statement. That's another conduct entirely that it will take another day for us to discuss. It's just this. Nigeria is going through a lot, and history has been destroyed. 1999 to 2007. It's unfortunate that Ganifa Wemi, between 1999 to 1993, made a statement in 2001, 2002, said he's so surprised that the president of this country goes around gallivanting. Ganifa Wemi is my man any day, anytime. But that statement, for people like us, we never liked it. Because why would you say he's gallivanting around when you know the kind of pain we are going through? So for such a man, we can just draw a program within a short time. I think you want to discuss Nigeria. Well, I appreciate this session for going this far.
All right.
Bring in the person and the great man. The
interesting.
Man of the person of General Obasanjo.
Okay, so well, interesting. Still on how Nigeria can, what the root causes are of this volatility and suffering. You talked about the dismantling of a house and building of a house. That's an interesting analogy. When we come back, we'll look at addressing this volatility and suffering that the former president is talking about. You proffer solutions for us. We'll be right back after this break, and we'll continue our conversation still. Welcome back to watching Politics HQ, right here on News Central Television, of course. X-raying the comments of Nigeria's former president, Olusegun Obasanjo, who spoke at an event organized by the Methodist Church in Nigeria when he hosted African bishops of the church. And he said Nigeria is in a volatile state. I just want to go back to the former president's words and just read a bit of what he said, because that forms the crux of our conversation tonight. Well, what he said was that that we need a new generation of leaders, moral leaders, transformational leaders. He says that Nigeria, as it is now, is it's volatile, uncertain, complex, ambiguous, and dangerous. We have resources in Africa. We have 70% of the world's copper. Japan has no mineral resources. Singapore is even worse. No resources. But whatever resources we have, if we're devoid of leadership, it won't get us anywhere. I want to go back to our guest, Mr. Shalal Molai, who's a public affairs analyst. So what are the solutions to addressing this volatile situation, uncertain, complex, ambiguous, and dangerous Nigeria that Olusegun Obasanjo has? Is this just the way it has always been, and the way it will always be, and Nigerians just have to learn how to live with it, or is something that can be solved?
Talking about the solution, you see, you must know your history. If you don't know where you are coming from, you can't understand where you are now, not to talk of where you are going. You know, this past president, general, I don't know why I love him. I've never voted for him. I never voted for him. But I understand his plight and the law he has for this nation. Like I told you, the event of time and how we truncated our position in Africa. Savage Nigeria, you savage the whole of Africa, and the world will shake. I don't know how this present regime is going to come onto this. I will tell you, Nigeria students must go back to history. My level of understanding about the conduct of our country today is what I learned from my primary school age to my secondary school age. And for you to build a future, you must prepare the youth to know what the past is, understand what the present is like, not to talk of the future, or else you just be playing games. Very elementary. I will tell you the destructive part of this nation that people are not taking note of. Do you know gambling? That element, that gambling game is the instrument to destroy Nigeria. And if you can succeed to destroy a massive cloud of over 210 million populace, you might destroy a continent. I pray that this government will see beyond the national anthem and prepare themselves to destroy that element of gambling, most especially emanating from sports. It might be meaningless to you and I now, but that is a fabric that will destroy the jink of this nation. And again, you bring up leaders that are going to be a generational conduct of powers. It will become a royal circle of people that will rule the future. This is not what we are before. In those days, anybody can become anything. I will tell you for free. Dangote become rich because of where he comes from and because of trust and belief. Do you know the wealth of Dangote is from Dan Tata? Go and check the story of Dan Tata family. Bring it to Dangote family, you will understand there's a kind of a separation. If care is not taken, we will not have such a diversion of business again. Bola Ahmed Tinubu, president of this present-day Nigeria, he is the son of Iya Mogaji of Lagos. If not the conduct of the past, such a person would not have become the president of this country. You won't understand what we are saying now because we are making it very, very short. Short and short. Nigeria can grow again, but the educational system must change, putting value on the old conduct of our academic learning and emanating it with what we have now in preparing for a greater future.
All right.
History is very important, and civics, not social study that we are having in an educational curriculum today.
Interesting, Mr. Shalom Olayo. We'll have to leave it at that. We have to leave it at that, sir. But you proffered solutions to what Olusegun Obasanjo is talking about. He had 8 years as president. I wish you had time to get into what he did and didn't do to provide good leadership for the country and to hand over Nigeria into good leadership going forward. But that's the size of much we can take. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Nigerians. Thank you for having me.